Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Feels like Monday.
Feels like Monday. So, we are here to jump into the topic of marketers are not UX market researchers. So, they are two different things, different disciplines, different goals. Let's jump into the differences and where the synergy opportunities exist.
Yes.
So, kind of to give you the headline, uh, UX researchers are looking at a focus on the product or service that an organization is building from concept to implementation.
Yes.
So their goal is to look at how can I influence what we create, build, sell. Marketers, on the other hand, are looking at driving awareness around that product, but also that brand.
That
So when you
brain.
think about that, there is some overlap. There are some activities that are similar, but this is one of those scenarios where you look at what comes out of those two teams, how they go in different directions.
Right. And how they can work together. I think, and what this isn't to argue there are no UX people sitting in marketing organizations and working working with marketing. We know that that's the
Mhm.
case. But how many projects have we done where they come forward and go, "Oh, you're marketing, you're doing
Mhm.
marketing research." Well,
Yes and
yes
no.
and no, but it's not. UX does not equal marketing, and a marketer does not equal a UXer.
Right. And I think the risk of using or leveraging your marketing team to do your UX market type research is you risk losing some of that synthesis
Hmm.
and that translation, that effective translation into requirements. Some requirements are really easy to distill out of market research, no matter who
Yeah.
performs it. But there are some nuances that require a different specialization, and you risk losing that when you rely on your marketing team to do that work.
Yeah, yes, you do, and you lose sometimes. I think the big thing with UX is we're really that. Not saying marketing's not, but that user centered focus, that
Mhm.
journey, those pain points, those needs, those characteristics, of the specific audience you're trying to target. I think from a UX perspective, we tend to focus on those elements. And like you said, we're looking from concept to implementation and even and post implementation, right? So in UX, really, we should consider the whole marketing piece of things as part of that
Mhm.
journey and try to influence that. Or sometimes just the work we're doing on the products ends up
Mhm.
influencing marketing. So, there's really a lot of information to be gained on both sides, but making clear that because you've hired a marketer, and they're on your team, that doesn't mean you have a UXer, who's
That's right.
producing the same kind of research necessarily.
That's
And
right.
from a UX perspective, be ready to talk about it or pull, communicate in a way or
Mhm.
look at your data from a marketing lens if that's who your audience is going to be. So, I think UX has we can play in any of those areas.
Absolutely. I think that there's definitely the opportunity to have a UX type researcher in your marketing organization because you will get a better bang for your buck by having individuals who play in both spaces. So they can do that qualitative and quantitative work that would feed the marketing team, but also help to inform the product strategy, design, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I do think that's beneficial. I also think that when you look at the work that a UX researcher is doing, I think that there's an opportunity for a partnership in
Yes.
that effort. So work together in figuring out what research to focus on, how to take that work and kind of cut it up or break it
Yep.
up into collateral for marketing, content strategy, product, that sort of thing. So working together on that is definitely a good thing.
Yes, and borrowing from each other's data, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
for especially UXers, hey, look at marketing data. A lot of that provides a significant amount of insight into a lot of times your users, what they're trying to accomplish, how, but based on how marketing thinks they need to message it, there's usually data behind that, marketing data behind that. So I think that can be leveraged on the UX front. And we know, I think I would say 50%, if not more, of our products, while we're not involved on the marketing front, we end up with data that they end up having us, deliver to those marketing teams
Yeah.
because we do understand, we do start getting down to what are the pain points, what is that journey, what are the challenges of the user. Go back to those problem statements. What are you solving for? Well, that usually should largely be at least an idea of what marketing needs to be targeting in their messaging because we have found, hey, we know people have these challenges. These are the challenges we want our service or product to address. Through our UX research, so you probably should market it that way, or at least test some
Mhm.
hypotheses around what marketing messages are going to resonate. In marketing, bring in UXers to help you. How do we test those messages? We've had some pretty significant, Fortune 100 companies, that had us come in there looking at a product, and what ended up happening was we started to get a whole lot of information when, we generated those tasks we had people perform that involved some of the marketing, signing up for a service. You're coming from the marketing site. Well, they end up, touching those areas where it comes out, that's not important to me, or I wouldn't actually do this. What's the likelihood you would actually, walk through the sign up process? Um, Not much because I don't understand what I'm signing up for, or I don't care about what it's saying I'm signing up for based on the messaging. So I think there's a lot that can be done through that partnership, as you
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah, you brought up some really good points. Before I weigh in, if there are any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. And I want to kind of go back to what you just talked about. It's really, really important to understand that when you are evaluating your product or service, taking your user from the early stages of where they gain awareness,
Mhm. Mhm.
how they sign up or how they engage with your product or service, it allows you to get a realistic picture or feedback around, like you're saying, information or holes in what you've provided from a marketing perspective, where there might be complexities or confusion, but also where you nailed it and where you double down in terms of your messaging as you look at that UX testing and what comes out of that. When you triangulate that with what you have from a marketing perspective, it now allows you to really get a good grasp of what areas to focus on in terms of your marketing positioning, what resonates the most with your prospect or your user, so you can, like you're saying, use that partnership
Mhm.
to then maximize the benefit for the marketing organization but also for your product organization.
Yes, yes. And reverse that. UXers, if marketing's out there, they're usually gathering a lot of metrics on
Mhm.
their sites. Go look at those metrics. Go look at their surveys. Yeah, if you're looking at that, and I'll give this example
Mhm.
because we actually did this. We had a case where we were trying to determine what's the next big thing we look at in a
Mhm.
really big product. So marketing had various messages out there, and we even did lean experimentation on the messages. But even with marketing, what were people clicking on? Was it the billing function? Was it the document management piece? What was kind of driving people to take that next step, either deeper on the website or signing up for trials, that sort of stuff. So that provided us with information from a
Mhm.
product standpoint, product management and a development standpoint. What do we focus on? Well, you might want to take a look at some of marketing's data because it can really lend a helpful hand, in prioritizing that along with, your other data points.
Yeah, and along those lines, if you are looking at your UX research roadmap for the product or service,
Yep.
leveraging that marketing data as a either starting point for that roadmap. So go ahead and create a roadmap based off of what your marketing team has already gathered, assessed, delivered in terms of metrics. Use that to inform the creation of a research roadmap, or periodically check in with your marketing team
Yes.
to make sure that your roadmap is still valid.
Yes.
There might be things that you are focused on in terms of features or capabilities or what that service can provide that no longer resonate based on that data that's coming out of the marketing organization.
Yes, absolutely. So back to we're always harping on one, look at the journey. It's
Mhm.
all a part of the experience. So that's going to be that front end, that awareness, that those marketing messages. So looking at all of it. Yep.
Absolutely. So just as a recap, marketing and UX research, market research, those two teams and organizations have an opportunity to partner with one another. However, we want to make the caveat that they are different, and what they do and deliver is different. So there's that partnership opportunity, but understand using your marketer to help inform your product design. There are some opportunities there, but you miss a lot of opportunities and strategic opportunities by not using a UX researcher. Having a UX researcher sit in your marketing organization, there is some benefit to that. Along those lines, before I forget, I have seen where UX organizations sit inside of marketing,
Hmm.
and it is not as helpful to that UX team or organization inside of marketing because they are away from especially in software organizations, they're away kind of outside of the technology organization or the
Right.
product organization. So although you might have your UX market researchers sit in your UX organization, you have to assess, does your marketing leadership have the ability to advocate to ensure that your UX market research team members have a seat at the table
Yeah.
during those product decisions? If not, you want to think about separating the two.
Right.
But
Right.
having that, go ahead.
I was going to say, or making that very conscious, deliberate effort of collaboration, whether it be
Mhm,
through brainstorming sessions,
mhm.
roadmap planning sessions, bring all those disciplines to the table so that
Mhm.
they can understand what each offers or what data each is holding.
Yes, yes, that's a good point. Um, think about your UX market research informing the
Yeah.
product roadmap, the research roadmap, where your marketing team may be getting you more of that quantitative data that can help to inform that process.
Yeah.
So, to your point, look for those partnerships, look for that synergy, but understand that they are different.
Yeah.
So thank you again for listening. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us. Let me stand up the email address. Contact us at info@leangeeks.net. And on behalf of Dr. Deanne and myself, thank you so much for listening today, and we will see you next time.